Good morning from beautiful Barcelona. I'm of course here for VMworld 2019, but whilst I'm here in Barcelona, all the way across in the States in Orlando, Florida is Ignite, the Microsoft conference, and whilst I'm trying to cover VMworld, I've also got my eye on Ignite to try and find out the latest updates from Microsoft. Now I'm spending a lot of my time at the moment working with customers and advising customers how Office 365 and Microsoft Teams could be used more effectively, and the amount of updates that have been coming out of Ignite around Office 365 is really exciting. Actually, they've released, I think it's an 89-page book regarding all the updates that have come out of Ignite, so absolutely massive. So what I wanted to do is just summarize some of the key announcements for you, the ones that really stood out to me, and then following the conference I will then deep dive, maybe do some blogs or videos on the individual subjects. So the first and probably the biggest and most exciting announcement for me is Microsoft announced that they're working in collaboration with both Zoom and I think Cisco WebEx to allow you to be able to join a Zoom room meeting from a Teams room and vice versa. And I think this is what collaboration is all about. People make choices for different reasons as to the technology they're using, and we shouldn't limit people's ability to be able to communicate and collaborate because they're using different systems. For me, lots of my customers and also at Computer World, we use Zoom for inter-organisation communication because the simplicity that it provides means that it's easy for our customers to be able to join us on those meetings. But we love Teams for internal communication. So at our office, we do have a Zoom room, and it would be fantastic for us to be able to join Teams meetings quickly and easily from there. So that's one really big update that they're promising. I think beginning of 2020 we're going to start to see that actually come into place. Also then within Teams we've seen announced private channels, which will allow end users to be able to create channels within existing teams that have been created and limit the people that have access to that. This should stop the spread of teams where you are wanting to have a private conversation with a subset of people inside a team, but it needs to remain private from everyone else that would be part of that team. What a user would do today is they would then go and create another team which has ramifications for the modern groups that are created and things like that. So now they will be able to go and create a team, create a channel underneath that team and then mark it as private, only allowing the people they select to go in and access that. A really important announcement as well is multi-window, allowing you to pop out things like chat into different windows and also documents inside Teams. This has been a big problem for a lot of people. We certainly use Teams in a lot of our meetings, and when you're trying to talk about a document and refer to something else inside Teams, it's very limited that you had to switch between the two elements continuously. Now you'll be able to pop out a window and look at the things simultaneously. That is also something a lot of people have been looking for. The ability to have pin channels, so if there's channels that you look at regularly, you want to just make sure they're highlighted, easy to access, you'll be able to mark those as pinned so they'll be able to appear at the top. A Linux client will be available. It doesn't sound like it will have full functionality, but the main functionality will be in there as well. We're also seeing Outlook integration. So inside Outlook, you'll be able to share messages and threads into Teams, and from Teams, you'll be able to share conversations into Outlook. So make sure we're able to bridge those different types of communications when we need to do that. We're further seeing tasks come together. So all the tasks that you've got in To-Do and Planner and your personal tasks, you'll be able to access those with inside Teams as well. So quick and easy access to ensure you can be to ensure that you're able to be productive. Really struggle to say that. I think it's really important because Teams is going to, or Microsoft saying that it's the hub of productivity, the hub of teamwork. So it's important to bring those tasks into that view as well. Now, we've seen a lot of updates with regard to Yammer, and I'll come on to those a little bit later, but what we're going to see at the beginning of next year, I think it was, is a Yammer app dedicated inside Teams to allow you to bridge those different types of communication, with obviously Yammer being sort of the outer circle of communication, the company-wide communication, and Teams being sort of the in-group, the more focused types of communication. So we're seeing that come into Microsoft Teams. We've also seen a number of collaboration bars being released, and we saw a number of these at the Zoom conference earlier on in the year. These are kind of like the sound bar that you get underneath your television at home. The idea is it's fully integrated camera, microphone, speaker system, but also the necessary hardware to be able to run, in the previous example, Zoom rooms, but a team room. So that'll make it quick and easy, especially for things like huddle spaces, where you want to create a quick meeting room, minimal setup required. And we're seeing Poly and also Yealink being the first to bring those to market very shortly. Coming away from Teams then, Microsoft have released, or there's a public preview available for a new mobile experience for both iOS and Android. In fact, the iOS public preview sold out, I believe, within hours. Apple put a limitation for 10,000 users on there. I think it's called a test drive platform or something like that, and they've all gone already. But Microsoft have redesigned the way that you will collaborate with things like Word, Excel and PowerPoint from the ground up with a combined experience, so you can view all of the documents you've been working on across those platforms in one application, and also looking at new ways of interacting and working with it as if they had designed those applications for mobile first. The previous applications were very much a transport of what happens on your PC or Mac onto the mobile device. These the new experience is focusing on mobile first and how can they make it as fluid and productive as possible. So I'm really excited to be able to get my hands on that. I'll have to bust out probably an Android phone now and see what that experience looks like. But I think that's a really positive announcement and change for us to see. Yammer is been left to the wayside. We've seen some small announcements, but lots of focus happening on Yammer. They've actually redesigned it from the ground up, using their new Fluent design system, which means it's a new modern experience, really focused on the user. And they're really kind of refocusing Yammer on company-wide communication, on communities, with lots of really fun and exciting ways to be able to collaborate coming to that platform. So I'll go and check out those videos about Yammer. I'll probably do a separate video on it once I've been able to experience it a little bit more. Again, I think there's a public preview coming for that as well, so you can understand when Microsoft are taking that. But Yammer is definitely staying around. A lot of people have been asking where is the necessity with it, with Teams coming along so far, but I think we're seeing Yammer come closer to Teams with that plugin that I mentioned previously, or that app inside Teams that I mentioned previously. And now with the redesign, it's firmly focusing on that more social, that more company-wide communication, exactly where I think Yammer plays best. Now, outside of some of those other things out of the Office 365, we've seen quite a big announcement from Microsoft around how you manage devices, how you manage Windows 10 devices. And there's two ways of doing that today. In fact, there's probably even more. We see Config Manager, SCCM, for you managing devices on premises in the traditional way. And we see Intune for managing devices in that more modern way. And there's a number of different interfaces to manage and access to get that experience that you want. Microsoft admitted that they've overcomplicated this. There's too many products and it's difficult to know where to go. So they've announced Endpoint Manager, a single point of management of devices no matter where they are, if they're on premises or if you're managing them from a more modern experience in the cloud. And from there you'll be able to control and see both Config Manager and Intune. In fact, they've even gone further that if you have Config Manager licenses, you will now be able to access Intune with those licenses. So this is a real kind of positive step in Windows 10 management, allowing people to bridge that gap between the legacy way of managing and the modern way of managing a lot easier. And I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more about that. And finally, one thing that I saw that was really positive, Windows Virtual Desktop that is now available for you to have desktops in Azure to roll out across your organization. Microsoft were talking about this on stage and invited iGel up on stage, talking about them being the first partner that they've worked with to deliver a Linux client to allow you to access Windows Virtual Desktops from an iGel thin client. Now that is going to be made available via an SDK to other partners shortly, but it was really good to see iGel on stage, see them working very closely to Microsoft to be in that edge operating system to your cloud-based desktop. So a huge amount of announcements from Microsoft Ignite. Sorry for a very quick video to run through those, but hopefully they give you a little bit of a flavour as to some of the things that are really exciting to me coming outside of Microsoft Ignite. I'll look to put some of the links below in the comments so you can go and read some more. I'll also record individual videos later. Now I'm heading off to VMworld, really excited for this morning's keynote at VMworld. I'll be sure to record a video later.